Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the, I guess it's November 17th, Scituate Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. And you can call our first application.
Madam Chairman?
Yes.
Point of order. I'd like to, the board has been reconstituted in that the selectmen have reappointed myself and Mr. Basheri, and it's appropriate at this time to elect a chair, a clerk, and a website editor according to the new town board and committee handbook, which they've introduced to us. So I think in keeping with the expectations of the town fathers, I'd like to nominate Mr. Hallen to be our chair and to be clerk and website editor. If Annie would take that responsibility, I would nominate her as well.
Well, that's kind of weird. Well, first of all, I think that it would be the preference of the chair to certainly take that vote, but to have this meeting held. It was noticed under my name, and we have people here for it, and I think we should proceed with the meeting, and then we can proceed right to a vote.
I'd ask that the vote take place at the beginning of the meeting as it is appropriate, timing-wise. And if there's a second to the motion, we can discuss the motion.
Not hearing a second?
Second.
Well, second, what's the motion?
Motion to move that we elected at this meeting our chair, Mr. Hallen, and as our clerk and website editor, Ms. Kelly.
Okay, do you have a second?
Second.
Second. I would only add to the motion that the vote should be taken after the applications that are on tonight be heard, and then proceed immediately to a vote.
So you're amending the motion. You need a second to amend the motion.
Second to the motion?
I'll second that. I don't know why we necessarily need to do it before.
Yeah, we have it take effect afterwards.
Yeah,
if we had to.
before these guys.
Okay.
Make them sit through that. We can discuss it then.
Okay. All in favor of the amended motion? Aye.
Aye.
Clay.
Aye.
We'll move right to that then. Thank you. It's been a while. It'll be a relief to have somebody else take this over. So we can go to the first application.
Mr. John Collins Jr. and Susan Collins of 391 Old Country Road, North Palm Beach, Florida, request an appeal of the Assistant Building Commissioner's September 14, 2016 refusal to declare 74 R. Bush Street, Scituate, Massachusetts, Assessor's Map 50, Block 13, Parcel 11R, a buildable lot.
And we have a request from the applicant to continue, correct?
Yes.
And they wish to continue till when?
January 19th.
Okay. So do we have a motion to continue the first application to January 19th?
Move to continue to the 19th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. And that's in writing, correct? Thank you. Okay.
Second application, Mark and Jamie Novak of 7 Nelson Road in Scituate request a special permit finding pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 48, Section 6, to construct an addition adding more than 20% to their non-conforming single-family home at 7 Nelson Road in Scituate. Section 28, Block 1, Parcel 10.
Good afternoon. Good evening.
Good evening, Madam Chair.
Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us what you would like to do with your property?
I'm Mark Novak. This is my wife, Jamie Novak, 7 Nelson Road. We're looking to put an addition on the front of our house. We have 2 young children. Our house is currently 1,428 square feet, and the walls are closing in on us. So we're looking to expand at a master bedroom, master bath upstairs, and mudroom, foyer, and a guest bedroom downstairs.
Okay. And you asked to increase it by 62.8%?
Correct.
And I see that's been noted on the plan by Morse Engineering that you have submitted with your application dated 9/30/16. So this is, what do we've got? So we've got,
The existing nonconformance is on the western side of the lot. I believe the side lot setbacks are 8 feet, and we're just over 6 feet on that side. I will note that the proposed addition is within the setbacks as written in the bylaws, so we're not extending beyond any of the setbacks.
You have a non-conforming in that you are 50-foot frontage, and you don't have the width through the house. But again, that's nothing that you can do with it. You can't change the land. Your proposed addition extends the existing house toward Nelson Road by 19.7 feet. It's 19.7 by 24. Comes within 30 feet of, it's 30.1 feet from the street. You're not extending the house on the side with the non-conforming setback. You are extending it on the conforming side.
Correct.
So it appears there's no intensification or new non-conformities that I can see.
I would agree.
And are you guys on town sewer?
We are, yes.
Okay, so there's no septic issues.
Yeah, I have a question, maybe Bob can answer it. How did this house get built in 1972 with a
Is there a fire?
6?
It's a nonconformity on the side.
Nonconformity.
Oh, and you know what? I didn't notice that. It's probably one of those,
Well, the lot was established in 38.
Yeah,
Right, it may have been a raise and reconstruct.
Was there a fire there?
Sort, I don't know. Pardon?
Was there a fire at that
Oh,
was
I-
property?
It was an alteration in 94.
1972, I was not here.
I went to the assessor and looked for the card and asked if they had an older card, as they sometimes do, and they did not.
Okay.
That was all they had. So
Yeah,
they were-
the lot size issue isn't the problem, it's just the side setback.
That's because I noticed that when we were looking at the assessor's card, 72, I thought,
The likely scenario was that it was either a raise and reconstruction, they maintained that nonconformity, or that it was a fire and they could maintain the nonconformity. But
so,
Mr. DeLisi has a question.
I noticed that, it's very interesting.
so I guess the question is, what do we do with this? Because this is one of those that we have to show that the nonconformity, do we have to show that the nonconformity existed at the time of the bylaw?
Well,
think
the
so.
nonconformities at issue are width and frontage. We know that the lot was created prior to the bylaw, so the 6.8 isn't changing. It's not even being intensified.
That's true.
Because they're
No,
not.
I agree with all that.
So-
It's just,
so I
to me,
think
I
that
never had a
it-
situation where it doesn't appear to me to have been conforming when it was built.
No, we've had a couple of these, and
really?
we've sent people back recently, and one of them was found, remember the one that we said had to have been built like probably in the 20s or 30s?
Oh, yeah, well, there was evidence there,
Yeah, but this is the first one that we
I
don't
think
have direct
if they were
evidence of.
continuing along that 6.8-foot line, that would be an important question for us to address, but where they're not,
Yeah, I
we're
agree.
just
It's not
proceeding
a-
on frontage and width.
Not increasing anything, it's just, is
Yeah.
it an illegal structure?
And it's been present for 10 years, so it is,
So they're covered. It is legal, and
Established.
if it is, they're good there too, because you've been there for
That's why
long
I
enough.
asked.
Yeah,
So you're comfortable with it, if you are, I am.
yeah, I am.
You're gonna freak them out. They came here to build more, now they're tearing it down.
Nobody brought that up when I bought the place.
I had surprise twins in 1,480 square feet, so I don't want to scare you guys.
Yeah. Well, and it seems to me that, and I see Mr. DeLisi in the, this is kind of his little, I've been reading since our last time we met a lot, and this would seem to me to fall under 810.2, the very last paragraph, that it can be done with the finding, because it certainly doesn't fall within A or B.
Well, it's also a Gale
Yeah.
scenario.
Yeah, you know what, actually,
Not yet, but I know you're dying.
You tricked them.
So, yeah, so, I'm sorry, Frank.
It's also, it's a Gale, it falls
Yeah.
under Gale, so I'm not even sure the bylaw applies, but.
Oh, I think bylaws always apply.
Well, no, I think Gale says it doesn't matter if you're not increasing or intensifying
The non-conforming.
to a one or two family home. The statute overrides any bylaw. However, I think also that in many similar applications, we've addressed all of the issues just to cover the applicant in case there's some issue coming down the road, and I suggest that we do that here as well. They've asked for a special permit and/or finding, and we've been granting special permits and/or findings, and I suggest that we do the same here, unless I hear a good reason not to.
No? Ed, do you have any other comments?
No.
John?
No, as I say, I kind of venture to say that there probably was a fire or something to the structure.
It's possible,
that's-
it's
but
kind of funny, it's
I'm
not
not
on
sure.
here. But Anthony?
No.
Bob, do you have any?
No,
comments?
I think it's certainly not increasing any nonconformity. The status of the lot is certainly pre-existing nonconforming. The house, I think, is just a kind of a mystery at this point, but it doesn't really affect this judgment.
Yeah, could I make one more comment on the lot, too?
Sure.
This issue came up, you weren't here for it, Sarah, but I was very involved in it. And Mr. Duggan pointed out that for a 50, if you had 50 feet of frontage for a 5,000 square foot or greater lot, prior to 1992, that was fine under the town's bylaw, and then the bylaw became more restrictive in 1992. So this one was created before 1992. So the lot is certainly pre-existing non-conforming.
Right.
Okay, I didn't know that 92 was the when it went from 50 to 100-foot lots?
Apparently.
Frontage. Okay. Okay. Any comments from the galley?
yeah, just Jeff DeLisi, I wanted to speak in favor of the applicants. The reason the conversation is interesting to me is the board might not be aware of the fact that the Massachusetts legislature just enacted a statute in August that took effect this month of November that says that if an illegally built structure exists for a period of 10 years without appeal, then it shall be considered to be a legally pre-existing non-conforming structure for purposes of 48 Section 6, and it totally gets you guys, I mean, it's completely applicable in this circumstance, the first time that I've ever seen the situation, so.
Do you have the citation for that?
I'll get it for you. I wasn't expecting to even raise it tonight, so,
That would be great if you could
yeah,
possibly email it
yeah.
either to myself or to Annie, and
Mhm.
so we can take a look at it. That I had not
Yeah,
seen that.
it's
So
one
that-
of those things that really changes things a lot.
So my understanding is previously the statute said that if it existed for 10 years without an appeal, it would be considered built in accordance with a building permit, couldn't be torn down. But now you're saying that they tacked on to it that it should also get the benefit of a pre-existing non-conforming status?
Exactly. It used to be
Right.
and it still is, that it's 10 years on a request for enforcement for a statute of limitations on a structure.
But they made it
now
even
they
stronger once you go
added a
10 years.
sentence. They added a sentence to this act that said that if it's illegally built, it shall be considered to be a pre-existing non-conforming structure if it has gone 10 years without appeal.
That's a big change for us, not
Yeah.
necessarily with respect to this application, but with respect to others. That makes a lot of properties.
Okay, that would be great. I appreciate if you'd send that on.
Sure.
Okay. Anyone else in the audience have anything to say for this project? Okay, do we have a motion?
Motion that the board find that the property at 7 Nelson Road is legally non-conforming as to frontage and lot width, and that the board find that the proposed improvements per the plan dated September 30th, 2016, and prepared by Morse Engineering show improvements that shall not create any new nonconformities, and to the extent they intensify the existing nonconformities, such intensifications are not substantially more detrimental to the surrounding neighborhood. And further, that the board, out of an abundance of caution that Frank mentioned, also grant a special permit as to same.
Okay,
What I miss?
I think you need to mention the
this increase,
Side setback.
side setback.
the setback and the increase in the square footage.
I omitted it purposefully, but I'm open to including it, because
Well, I think you have to include the increase in the,
More than 20% in the square
I
footage.
think so, well,
that's the only reason they're here, but yes.
Yeah,
That's the other
yeah,
bylaw.
That the proposed improvements per the plan, which increase the square footage of the home by more than 20%, do not create any new nonconformities, and any intensifications are not substantially more detrimental.
okay.
I was purposefully leaving out the side setback, since we don't have a clear determination on that.
I think.
Except I think Gail says that you need to
Identify all the
identify
nonconformities.
all of the nonconformities.
Well, it's, yes, the property is absolutely
Non-conforming as to the
non-conforming.
side.
And that nonconformity is not being intensified.
That covers.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
It's my turn. I don't have.
Right out of template.
Get that done.
That's interesting, though.
That's an important change. I did not hear about that.
Well, I'm gonna have to look that up.
I actually was so intrigued by it that I signed up for a little seminar in Boston on it, so.
The BBA?
No, the MCLE.
Huh.
Yeah, it's like called Recent Developments or something to that effect.
Interesting.
All right. All right, Mr. DeLisi,
Thank you.
River Road. Annie, you want to read that one?
Leslie and Jeffrey G. Hubbard, trustees of JAC Realty Trust, of 28 River Road in Scituate, request a special permit of finding in accordance with Scituate zoning bylaw sections 470.6F, 810.2, 950.2D, 950.2D, and/or Mass General Law, Chapter 48, Section 6, and/or any other relief, the Board of Appeals may grant that the raising of a pre-existing non-conforming single-family dwelling at 28 River Road in Scituate, Assessor's Map 69, Block 2, parcels 18, 19, and 20, and reconstruction of a single-family dwelling thereon will be less non-conforming and will not be substantially more detrimental or injurious to the neighborhood than the existing non-conforming structure.
Share yours. Do these plans show all three lots?
There's only 2 lots.
2 lots.
And it shows-
Parcel 18, 19, and 20?
It shows them as combined, but on the deed, it's just 2 lots. So if you look
Okay.
at the record plan, it's 282 and 283 on sheet 4 of the record plan.
Okay, well, why don't you, again, you explain to us what your clients are looking to do?
Thank you.
So, Jeff DeLisi, I'm here with my clients Leslie and Jeff Hubbard behind me, as well as with Julie Johnson, who is the owner of Custom Home Designs, our engineer Jeff Hassett of Morse Engineering, who prepared the plan for the board, had a family issue, and is unable to attend tonight. The Hubbards recently purchased the property, 28 River Road in Hummerock. If anybody, it's hard to get a context. I should have sent this with the photos, but I did a little Google Earth just so the board can understand where the property is located. And essentially, if you bang a left coming over in Hummerock and you go towards First Cliff, eventually as you get to the cliff, the road forks left and right. And off to the left fork along the riverside is where the property is located. So you can have that if you want.
I'm a little confused. You've got one thing circled and another, is the
Yeah, I
circle
know.
one, this is not.
The pin just fell on the wrong spot, but
Okay.
this is the property where I
All right.
circled.
So it's the
Yeah,
last house on the left, if you're going down the road.
exactly.
I just colored that in.
Yeah. It's all gone. So anyway, the property is located in the R3 zoning district and also in the floodplain watershed protection district. It's, if you can see on the plan here, I had Jeff drop it off, and I'm not used to usually holding up the boards and showing the plans, but.
Actually, can I ask you maybe, if you don't want to use the.
Sure. No,
Just,
that's perfect.
just because we're on TV and people may want to see it,
Where do you want me to put it? Right here?
wherever, yeah, she says yes, that's fine.
Okay.
Can you see that on the TV?
If you turn it a little bit this way.
Towards you?
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, the lot area is almost double the size of the lot area required in the zone. It's 19,000 and change square feet, and it's a 10,000 square foot zone. It also has 150 feet of frontage, which is 1.5 times the requirement in the zone as well. There's ample space on the, excuse me, let me see if I can do this again. The existing house is shown here in either red or orange, because I could be colorblind. And the proposed dwelling is in the bold here, okay? And so presently, there's more than 50 feet of setback off the side yards and more than 80 feet of setback off the rear yard. The proposed dwelling would be, the closest on the side would be 49.2 feet off of the westerly sideline. And it would still be over 80 feet off the rear. The only nonconformity on the property right now is the front setback, which is presently 20 feet in a 30-foot zone. And the proposal is to reconstruct the house such that it is no closer to the front yard than it is now, so it would remain at 20 feet. The house was built in 1950. It is presently non-compliant with the existing flood maps. The flood map actually was just accepted this month on either the 4th or the 6th of November. It's in an AE 15 elevation, and that would require that the house be, that the first floor be no lower than 16 feet above sea level in elevation, and the house will be above 16 feet above elevation. So there's no change in grades that are proposed, which presently are, it's pretty much a flat property. It's 7 feet in the rear and 9 feet in elevation in the front, so it's pretty flat. The applicant doesn't propose any grade changes. The Conservation Commission took a look at this last night. I think I asked Pat to send an email to the board today, which he did, which indicates that the board is likely to vote to approve. And there just appears to be nothing in this application that would be harmful to the neighborhood or or adverse to anybody's legal rights. And so we ask the board to consider this and approve it.
Okay, so now we get back to your little 810.2.
810.2. Yep.
Which paragraph would you place this under?
So we are expanding the size of the reconstructed dwelling would be greater than 20% gross floor area increase. As a result, Bob can't issue a building permit in his discretion. We have to come to this board for a finding under the last paragraph of 810.2. And that finding would be a 48, Section 6 finding of not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood.
Why would it not fall under 810.2B? I never thought after I was looking at this with Neil and Bob the other day, I thought, I'll never see one of these, and then lo and behold, here it is. Dimensionally non-conforming building or structure with sufficient lot frontage and area, which you agree we have, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Or said building or portion thereof is non-conforming as to one or more of the dimensional requirements for front, side, or rear setbacks,
Yeah,
which we have front.
right.
Proposed repair, alteration, reconstruction, extension, or structural change shall meet all dimensional requirements for front, side, or rear setbacks. So the only question I had was, why does it not have to be, I read this and I would think it would have to set back 30 feet.
So there's more to the paragraph, but it doesn't meet the front yard setback. So
It's pre-existing non-conforming.
It doesn't currently.
on the front.
So it doesn't apply under that.
And I think that the
Why
paragraph,
doesn't, I'm confused what you said, why it doesn't fall under this?
Well, it doesn't fall under B because it's more than 20%. B is there for buildings which, if they were increasing the square footage 19%, it would fall under B, and Bob would be allowed to issue a building permit without our
right,
review.
because the paragraphs it goes on.
Yeah,
So I think on page 115, if we're looking at the same page number of bylaws, which is right before that famous and notorious last paragraph, it says, which existed on that date, on the date that the single or two-family home became non-conforming by more than 20%, may not be permitted by the building commissioner. So I think it requires a finding, but if you don't think so.
I mean,
A and B are permissive paragraphs for the building inspector to grant a building permit without our review. The last paragraph prescribes what is to be done or what needs to be done by the board if Bob cannot issue a building permit under A or B. This doesn't qualify under B because it's more than 20%, so it falls into the last paragraph where we need to make a finding before Bob can issue the building permit.
do you read the same way?
I do, Sarah.
Okay.
I mean, it's only if the 20% limit's exceeded that it's kicked to the ZBA. Otherwise, pre-existing non-conforming doesn't necessarily kick it to the ZBA. I could still issue a permit under those circumstances.
And under those circumstances, you would have to require them to stay within 30, set back 30 feet.
No,
No.
I would have to require them not to increase the non-conformity.
Well,
And stay under the 20%
it says,
gross.
shall meet all dimensional requirements. The proposed alteration, reconstruction, or structural change shall meet all requirements for front, rear, or side yard setbacks.
Provided
Right.
that it doesn't increase the gross floor area by more than 20%.
So you're saying that if it's more than 20%, they don't have to meet the front yard setback?
I'm saying that this applicant needs a finding because he is less than 30 feet off the front yard and is proposing a reconstructed dwelling that's more than 20% gross floor area than what's existing.
Sarah, I understand what you're saying. You're saying that in order for Bob to take advantage of B and grant a building permit on a pre-existing non-conforming, they would have to bring the non-conformities into conformance, which I'm not sure all of us would necessarily read that paragraph that way, but I think that's what you're saying. Again, not at issue here because we're
Yeah.
not utilizing B, That's a question of enforcement between this board and Bob, maybe for another matter. And I'm not sure I read it that way. I see that the drafting left the door open for that interpretation, but I don't think that that was the intention of that drafting. I think they mean shall be dimensionally in conformance as to all other not previously non-conforming items.
Because otherwise it wouldn't be a 20% rule, because in that instance, you're complying completely with.
Right, you wouldn't need relief.
Yeah.
Right, because you,
It would negate the need for the paragraph as a whole.
Well, it's kind of interesting that you say you think the intent of the whole thing was for findings, but the discussion I had, and Bob was there with Neil the other day, was that the author of this bylaw, Barbara St. Andre, you said she really intended all of it to mean special permit.
No, the author of the bylaw is the town of Scituate.
Well, you may say that, but by their
bylaw review
attorney, they
committees,
know,
there are-
and that's come up.
Yeah.
It came up in the Doherty decision, great discussion of what was meant when something was written. The problem with it is, whether she intended it to be a permit or not.
That's
It-
words
it-
matter,
It
absolutely.
doesn't, yeah, looking at it carefully, I can't say that I don't find it still lacking clarity.
Let's put it this way, if I went to Bob for a building permit on this, he'd say, "What, you crazy? Go to the ZBA."
Would he?
Well, in this
And
case,
he might not say, yes, you're
Pretty
crazy.
straightforward in this
Yeah.
case, but I do
Yeah.
take your point, Sarah, and I think I need another conference with my predecessor.
Yeah, I think it's not, again, at the height of clarity.
So let's go back to the earlier conversation about Gale.
Yeah,
This is a Gale situation.
I would
This is
And
a
it would be,
So-
and it would be if
It's
in
one
either
kind-
case.
Yes,
It
Yes.
doesn't really
It's,
matter.
Yeah.
it's
It
not
doesn't increase
Yeah,
increasing.
it's not a 10.2B, so we can,
okay.
We're all such geeks about this stuff, huh? It's
Well,
crazy.
wow.
Well, the more you read it, the more.
Yeah, it's
There's
very,
different stuff,
it's, the problem is that these amendments were added at different times, and sometimes,
20% was more recently added.
yeah, sometimes they just don't read together so well,
They don't. But, yeah, and then if you go to try to find case law, it's there, as you know,
Well, you-
turns on, a word or two. Lots
It
of
turns on a
times.
word or two in the bylaw that's being construed in the case that is at play, and so that's a whole nother issue, but thank you very much for the thoughtful discussion.
So, okay. Anyone on the board have any further questions, discussion on this one?
oh, what's the elevation, could it be 16 feet for the new floor?
The new floor is going to
16.3.
be, is proposed to be 16.3, exactly.
Okay, and then what's the existing, out of curiosity?
13, hold on, let me get my, is the plan, plan's
11.47,
up there, exactly, 11.
11.47.
11.47 is existing now. It has to be 16, and it is proposed to be, I think it's 16.3 or 16.2. It should be on the plan there.
All right, so, they'll improve that condition as well then for the elevation when they're set.
Yeah, I mean, they completely, what's funny is I was looking at it in the elevation of the map that just expired, had it at, I think, 11, so actually it was previously compliant, even though it was even though it was in the
Non-conforming.
floodplain delineated on the zoning map. So, that's the problem with the zoning map, and another issue maybe that the town ought to confront, with the fact that the national map has changed, but the zoning map is staying the same. So, but neither here nor there now,
They'll conform.
yeah,
when
right.
So, don't you require now, once we get through the first issue, you also require floodplain special permit?
Yeah, so that would be under 470.6.
Yes.
And the criteria, I think, is threefold. And that would be that the improvements must be consistent with the requirements of the National Flood Insurance Program. We've just discussed that they are. They must be consistent with the provisions of the state building code pertaining to flood-resistant construction in consultation with Bob, and they will be. And then I think the third does not apply because we're not in a water course. But it says any improvements shall not affect the natural drainage patterns of the water course, whatever that means, but we're not in a water course. The only thought that I had on that.
John Stintz anyway, right?
Yeah, we would be on
Pilings.
wood pilings. The only thought I had on that is that I guess if you look at the zoning map for the overlay district on the floodplain, it shows some streams and brooks and so forth, and my guess is that when it talks about water courses, that's probably what it means, and that's just not applicable in this circumstance.
All right, so, Bob, do you have any other comments or questions?
No, I think that it's been well covered.
Okay.
I would, at some point out of the context of this particular application, still like to discuss the 810.2 provisions. But, yeah.
Call me when you're going to do that, because
Yeah, no.
I learn a lot when I listen to Neil, that's for sure.
So do I.
Anybody in the audience wish to be heard on this? Mr. Bjorkman, nothing to say? God, okay.
Just a nod.
All right, do we have a motion?
Sure. On the application for a special permit and/or finding for the property at 28 River Road in Scituate, I move that the board find that the existing lot is conforming, that the existing structure is non-conforming only with respect to the front setback, that the proposed raise and reconstruction as set forth in the plan of Morse Engineering Company dated October 19th, 2016, will not increase or intensify the only existing nonconformity. And further, that the board find that the plan as set forth is in compliance with bylaw section 950.3 and bylaw section 470.6, and that therefore a special permit to be granted.
All in favor?
Second.
Oh, second, rather, I guess that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Before you leave, can I bring up another issue with you?
Sure. Wanna
Well, Jericho Road.
go to dinner and discuss it
I'm going back to
instead?
Jericho Road a little bit.
Okay.
I do not recall that we made a finding, we did anything with the floodplain special permit, so I'm wondering how we can correct that. I think it got lost in everything else that was happening that night. And I present that to the board members, too. Am I correct? I actually, to be honest, didn't look at the, I kept meaning to look at the application. I have not done that yet, but I seem to recall that you asked for a floodplain special permit on that.
I think, given where the proximity of the property is, I think it probably would have required it.
So, I think we need to, I'm not sure how we're going to fix that. Do we have to notice another meeting?
We have to
Between
notice
now?
another meeting to amend
discuss it.
a decision.
Yeah.
If,
Or we can,
I think.
No, I don't think you can do it without noticing
Well,
it.
my opinion is that was
I think
simply an error in the motion and voting, and that it wasn't mentioned in the motion. Has the decision already been written?
No.
And the decision hasn't been written.
But we didn't make a decision, you can't just say, well, we meant to. I mean, I think it has to be,
So you think we need to renotice to amend the
I think we
decision?
do, before 90 days is up, and it's up, I think, December something.
or do we,
Well, why, well, 90
or do we
days.
wait the 90 days?
No, you're talking about reopening it, so the 90 days stops.
It was in the application,
It was in the
It's in the
application.
and we
application.
voted to,
Grant the special
Grant
permit
the
allowing the
No,
improvements.
you didn't grant a special permit, I think it was a fine.
oh, no, yeah, you're right, we did just.
Wasn't-
That was the
grant findings for
whole
That's all you
point.
asked for.
Yeah,
But we granted the fine.
that.
we talked about 820,
Right, right.
and you said to me, you know,
All you're asking for is a finding.
and it was under
Right.
820, because we were
Right.
talking about in the context of
Right.
820. I did say at some juncture in the hearing that we were also looking for a special permit under the flood insurance provision.
But I think it has to be voted on.
Yeah, I'm not sure we voted on that.
No, I know.
Well, you know, I'll talk to my client about it. Would you like me to give you a call, or?
Well, give Annie a call, because I think as long as we have 3 members of the board voting, I think that is a separate vote altogether. So as long as we have 3 members of the board who can show up within 48 hours, I think isn't it 48 hours, a notice of a meeting? We've done that before for special situations.
You may not put it on a regular meeting, but have a,
Oh, and I don't think we should put it on the regular meeting, because it has to be decided before then.
well, that's what, yeah.
Right.
Make sure that's clear.
So
Find some time.
I'm pretty much always available. I know you are. I see you hanging out all the time. And,
He's always in the gym.
I don't know, what time do you get out of school?
I'm available after 3
What
o'clock.
day?
After, oh, no, I'm talking about Ed, because he's closest. You guys are in Boston, so
Yeah,
I wouldn't,
I can get back here by 6:45, 7,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I mean, it would seem to me to be a pretty,
It'd be real
Quick.
quick, yes.
yeah.
I mean, it could be either held at a selectmen's meeting or,
Yeah.
posted down the hall
Are
somewhere.
you going to be doing a decision on that?
Well, no one,
Well, you
no one
always
asked
offer.
me. Actually, I should have offered on this one that we just concluded. Would you like me to do?
well, wait, it was a finding. Do we do decisions on
Oh,
findings?
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, this had a special permit in it, too.
Okay, will,
That, yeah.
yeah.
I can talk to the client, just because I know I will literally call within the next couple of days, get back to Annie on the decision.
I don't think it's necessary he be here. I mean, I think.
No,
it's-
just to see if he wants me to undergo the expense of writing the decision, which,
Oh, I see.
he's in Hong Kong. So
what? Hong
he's
Kong?
presently traveling to Hong Kong.
Okay.
So I haven't spoken to him in quite some time.
Yeah, because I think we need to kind of clean that up.
When is the expiration date?
December 14th.
Again, I'm not sure the expiration date applies, because we're
Oh, it does.
talking about reopening the hearing. So
Well,
what-
the
what are you
problem
talking
is
about
the whole
expiring?
thing- He asked for the relief, and we have 90 days. We have to do it within 90 days.
But you
But
close
if
the
we
hearing,
don't do it, it can
right?
be constructive
Yes.
approval, right?
Yeah.
Right, and I don't ever want this board to have a constructive approval on something that should not, that's just not a good practice. It's not a big deal,
Okay, so
to-
then,
you know,
yeah.
it's not going to be a big deal to come in and decide it,
Yeah.
you know. A very similar analysis with what
So-
we just did.
We're pretty restricted at this juncture to the 3 criteria on 470, right, for that?
Absolutely, the only thing that's going to be
On the
talked
agenda.
about is this floodplain special permit.
Okay,
That's the only thing that's not resolved,
yeah.
so.
Because it was already, you know, it was already discussed, so could be a real quick meeting. you know?
Well, that's what I would anticipate, 5 minutes.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying, if you just involve the 3 of us who are in town, you got the quorum and, you know, you can get it wrapped up real quick. But that way, when, you know, if you're going to write, whoever's going to write the decision, if you're going to.
We'll have that information to include that in the decision.
Yes,
The
it seems to
floodplain.
me. I think it needs to be.
well, you guys are
clean.
kind of, yeah, you're catching me out of left field, so I got to think about this. But I do recognize your points, so.
Because whether your client wants to come or not, I think we can just reconvene a meeting on 48 hours' notice, and if you guys don't show up, we'll just talk about it. You don't have to be here. You're invited to be here, but we're at the point of just making the decision, making a motion and making a decision on it. So
And
you
is it-
you really don't even need to be here.
Yeah, I mean, the decision being, we've kind of seen that it met all the criteria, and
Yeah.
we just
Right.
grant that decision.
But I think we do have to do it with notice.
Formally.
I think the formal, we have to give notice, so.
Absent the formality of having to notice the meeting, we would just take that vote here, and I think the vote
Right.
would be in the affirmative on all 3
Right.
members' parts. I can state that I intend to vote. There's no new evidence to be forward, so I'm ready to vote in the
But I
affirmative.
think that we need the formality of the notice. That's the problem.
Unless you want to vote in the affirmative right now, right?
But I
Can you-
think we can't, because
Have to
we
be
have to,
noticed.
we have to give notice on it.
But we're,
I think-
it's-
We're not
I think
opening,
we
we're
have
not
to
opening,
notice
that we're
we're not, but we're not opening any new,
So if the hearing is closed to new evidence,
Right.
and the only purpose for notice would be to facilitate a discussion amongst the board and to take a motion and vote,
I
and
agree.
the applicant's representative
agree
sit
with
in
him.
front of you, and if you guys are,
This was only a failure of us to properly include it in the motion and decision. We closed the discussion with the public on an application that included the request for the floodplain special permit. I'm not sure additional notice is
I
needed.
think we do. Anytime we discuss an application, I think we've always had, we've done this before, even like the Custis thing, we had to give notice that we're going to discuss it. And you may be, I don't know if you were around or not.
Well,
I think the safer way to go is to give notice and just do it.
Absolutely.
Don't you
It's not
think?
that big of a deal. It'll probably take less
well, I
time
mean,
than we talked about it
pretty
here.
much what I'm hearing is that it looks like it's an affirmative
Oh,
on 3-0, right?
Yes.
So it's kind of like, if I'm here and,
I hear you there, I hear you there,
Over
but
with.
it's up to you, really. I mean,
You don't need to.
I would think the safer thing is if there's a question about whether notice is needed, then you won't have it then challenged later on and say, well, there wasn't, adequate notice given.
That's really gonna be a bigger
But
problem.
it's notice for the purpose of participating in the discussion. I'm just thinking out loud. And there's no participation
We close the
from
hearing. No, I
the
hear you.
public,
Yeah.
then the purpose of notice is, I'm not sure what.
Purpose of notice is the public has a right to hear our discussion and know we're discussing it.
Right. Well, we shouldn't be doing what we're doing right now.
Except we're just discussing it.
Why do we always have to get involved in these conversations?
I don't know. I think it's safer. It's not a big deal. It's going to take us 5 minutes. It's going to take us longer to get here than it is going to be to resolve it once we get here.
yeah, so we have Andy notice the meeting for Wednesday. You guys get together at 4 o'clock and you vote.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wednesday
Next
before
Wednesday at
Thanksgiving?
4 o'clock would not be my choice of time.
Well, then Tuesday.
We got
What
cornbread
48 hours?
bread.
Yeah.
Thursday, we're all in town.
So do we
Yeah.
want to set it?
My family is in New York, so.
Do we want to set a day for that now then? So that could be posted?
Tuesday?
I would, I got something Tuesday. What do I have Tuesday?
Tuesday afternoon?
Oh,
You
I
can
have
even do
deposition.
Monday, that's more
I have
than 48,
deposition.
even business day hours.
It's today.
It's
Thursday, it's only Friday,
Friday,
Monday. It's
Friday and
from
Monday.
now,
Yeah, but you need business
No,
It
but
day.
has to be
won't be-
posted. So
Posted.
Posted tomorrow.
post it tomorrow.
Yeah, so Tuesday's the earliest.
Tuesday.
I could do it later on Tuesday. I'm in Quincy on a deposition on Tuesday morning, so I don't know how long it'll take, so.
Is there a time Tuesday then? If we're gonna,
I'm available Tuesday afternoons. Tuesday at 4?
I would
is
say-
that later, is that fine for you?
Yeah, Tuesday at 4 will be fine.
And Tuesday for,
Here.
is this room available? Well, we
Doesn't
can have it in the
matter.
conference room,
Right, we'll find something.
as long as you
Yeah,
list the
It has to
room.
be, yeah, you have to list it on the notice, so Annie will figure that out.
All right,
Okay,
so Tuesday, 4 o'clock.
okay. Very good. Thank
Too bad
you.
we can't use the electronic medium to notice the meeting.
Yeah.
The webinar?
Thank you very much.
Right here.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
So, hey, since we're talking about old business, there was an application on the same evening for Turner Road. I drafted a decision within weeks of the hearing, and I
I have
haven't
not,
seen that
I
it's filed
personally
yet.
have not had a chance to review it.
My client has some issues with his contractor. I'd appreciate if possibly we can
I will
look at
do
that
my
as well.
best to get it done, at least by the end of Thanksgiving.
May I ask a question? Was it decided that you were writing our decision?
Yeah.
Okay, I understand.
No, you're all set.
To clarify, Mr. DeLisi will submit a draft decision for our
Oh, Jeff.
consideration.
What a great meeting.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck. So 4 PM.
All right,
4
4 PM, town
Big meeting.
halls.
Floodplain special permit.
Okay. All right, back to our other business. All right, so, do we need to make another motion on that, or you want to, is that, I don't know if you made a motion to make a motion.
No, I made a motion.
I think
And you
we
amended
have
the
a motion
motion.
that is back now.
That was
Right.
tabled
For-
until the end of the meeting.
Right.
John to be chairman and Sarah to be, excuse me, Annie to be both clerk and website czar.
I don't even think there is such a thing.
There is, they created it in the board and committee. You gotta watch the video, Sarah,
Very
and then fill out your own
essential.
diploma. And there's a website czar.
What do they call it?
Which actually, maybe she already is. All right.
So if anyone is.
It shouldn't be any of us, that's.
So I think that motion was seconded.
Okay. I would like to make I don't know how we do this, because basically I would like to move to appoint Frank Lynch as chair. No offense to John, but I'd like to explain to the board my reasons on that. I think this is I think it's a very difficult position, and I think it does require the expertise of an attorney to do things. John is a very dedicated member, but Frank also has chaired for, I don't know how many years, the Board of Health, and there is no requirement that the chair be a voting member. So the voting members would stay the same, but I think it would be better for the board and the department for Frank to be the chair.
Is there discussion on this? Can I-
Yes, there is a discussion, sure.
You should go first.
Yeah.
Sarah and I haven't discussed this. I didn't ask for this, so this is a surprise to me. And frankly, I thought the voting members probably it makes sense to be the chair. I don't disagree with you that there's a lot of issues that my preference, but this is an occupational bias, would be that the chair be an attorney. But we have 3 attorneys here who are pretty good at reading.
Sharing their opinions.
Reading in advance, and I suspect we would be able to help John along.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess that's just thank you, Sarah, for your confidence.
Yeah.
I tend to agree. I think the primary role of the chair is the order of the meetings and the board's procedure, and I think John's in as much of a position as any of us and has the experience to do that. I don't think any of our legal or licensed legal minds, I should say, will let him get tripped up on interpretation of the code or case law. That's to the extent he would even need our help, which...
Yeah, well, I think there is actually a lot more there is more you have to do, which I've always been grateful that I'm an attorney, as I've been dealing with the chairmanship for a number of years. Very happy to pass it on, and I just think it's better for the board, but, I'm only one vote, so.
I had actually considered consulting, or I did consult a few people on the possibility of could an alternate member be the chairman, because I thought it was an ideal way to offer an alternate. The discussion that the Board of Selectmen were having about alternates being backbenchers, which I don't believe is the case in this board at all, but I felt that if we could have alternates become the chair, or if the chair was the senior member and rotated down through a 5-member board, and a variety of ways we could look at reconfiguring the board in order to allow for a better rotation. I was led to believe that it was, I was not given the opinion by anyone that it was acceptable that an associate member be the chair.
Yeah, well,
That
that's
was
just legally is not factually correct, so.
Well,
I don't know who told you.
Well, I'm happy, Sarah.
If you have a citation for it, I'm great, but the one
Sarah,
I looked at, I
I'm
didn't see it.
happy to have your statement, but I'm don't really like to be told that I'm completely off base. I'm basically
I didn't say you were off base, I think.
I'm
you're being
basically
insulted with-
agreeing with you that
Yeah.
I thought there might be a variety of reasons why it could be positive. But unfortunately, the reason, or not unfortunately, but the reason I nominated John was because absent, given the input that I had, that associate members it would not be inappropriate to have an associate chair, which I believed it would be, that John would be the person I could nominate. So that's why I made the nomination.
Okay, so, any further discussion?
I'm good.
Okay, so.
No, just as, also, I don't think there's going to be much change.
Probably not in some
No,
ways, but
so.
It's a good thing you're local. So anyway, all right, so we have two people nominated. So all in favor of John, vote aye.
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 All in favor of Frank, vote aye. Aye. Oh, well, Frank.
No, I appreciate, as I said,
Don't be
I
walking
appreciate.
across the street
appreciate the
asking
compliment.
questions all the time.
Careful what you wish for.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
kidding,
Dale was going to be
John.
my
Yep.
speed dial.
Yeah, yes, and there is some great truth to that.
Well, Sarah, let me.
Nobody else wanted it a couple years
So,
ago.
but let me say too,
False.
while we're finishing up here,
Yeah.
because it shouldn't go unnoted that the job of the chair does require more effort than.
A lot of work and more time.
An ordinary member, and you've obviously put that in. You're always prepared, you always read the materials, and you do a lot to make sure that people are aware of the issues that are coming before them, over the last, was it 3 years, 2 years?
Yes, 3
Why
plus.
would it at
3
least
years.
be that?
Move
3
to
plus
three.
years.
I would second that, but we also, there's more to that motion. We have
Oh,
to,
Annie, well, geez, by default, we all vote Annie.
well, not by default, by motion, to
By
be clear.
motion,
Andy,
yes.
would you accept if it was voted as such?
Yeah, no, Annie's gonna go. Will you guys nominate Bob?
Does that carry a pay raise with it, I know?
Well, I think it's a step raise.
They get the same increase that John, you get the same increase John gets.
Yeah. Okay, all in favor of Annie being clerk and website, what did you?
Czar, I believe is the term in the,
No kidding.
Yeah.
Master.
and the handbook.
Website master.
I made that up, but aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Annie, all in favor?
Do we have minutes?
Yeah.
I did not get to them.
2 months?
I'm sorry, I
September,
just had it like crazy.
You got my edits? Okay. Great. Just want to make sure.
You can take by a majority if you so desire. I will abstain, having admitted I have not.
September and October?
read them.
Yeah.
I move to accept the minutes for September and October as mailed and edited.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm abstaining because I did not review them.
One was real short.
And I wasn't even at one of them.
That was, yeah.
I wasn't even.
September
at
was
There's
short.
one applicant, so that was pretty.
All right.
Oh, Andy, do you want to say anything about,
Does
anyone
everyone,
have to fill out anything? Okay. Does anyone have to fill out anything?
for what?
I think this, in your handbook, there's a certificate that needs to be filled out in the back.
You know, this is the first year they ever
I know,
gave
it
us
is.
one.
Well, did everybody attend the training?
I've already, I already did the training.
So then I think you're just, I don't know why they want us to fill out a certificate that says that we attended the training.
Because you're new appointees.
No, I think it's for all of us.
No, it's everybody.
I think they might have
Oh,
had a
you're talking about
snafu.
sexual harassment training?
No, the board and committee
Board and
training.
committee training.
Did
can
you
also
attend
watch
the
it-
board and
Did
committee
I miss
training?
something altogether?
You can also watch it on YouTube.
So there was 2 board and committee training sessions that they said were mandatory, but then they made it available online,
Oh,
so.
okay. Oh, you know what? I do remember that, yeah.
So, and I think
That's
that
what
then
the-
they want, you're filling out the certificate is you're confirming that you attended one or the other,
Okay.
is my understanding.
Excellent. Anthony, can you hand that to Annie?
Of course.
Be a part of that one. Well, John, you get your feet
Are we
wet
adjourned?
on a
Move to
complicated
adjourn?
one.
Coming up in January.
Seconded.
All in favor? Aye. Adjourned.